Welcome to the channel. This is Reliable Ready. Just picking up where we left off from the stream earlier in the day, and we have NVAX. We did get that breakout we were looking for. Trims all the ways up. I can go over those briefly in a bit. And CVNA Carvana, we are keeping our eyes on this. Our best print is a 24 flat. Just respecting these previous lows over here, and those lows are at 24.06. So a couple different ways you could play this right here. I'd love to tell you that we put in an ask order on 2410, but we didn't, and we're looking for further continuation. Not the most amount of size on this, as we've been respecting this all the ways to the upside. From our lowest reload at 2330, looking at about a 12%. And from our orders down 2250, give or take, sitting about 17%. So like everything to do with this trade, NVAX, we are still nursing this entry. Only 4% in the money, so not the biggest. But I will say AI, we did exit the position on AI, and it gave us another leg up. Would have been nice to have a little bit of it, but sometimes that's how it works out. And we're keeping an eye on the NQ. It's got this flat top built right at our 702 right here. And just kind of watching to see if this kind of trend line, very vertical trend line, is going to give us a break to the downside. We are being careful with it. And we know that it is possible for this to put a red engulfing, trigger some stops, and get some movement to the downside. GME, we had Kramer in on this. Just hasn't given me an opportunity to enter. If this is top end of the channel, we're making a parallel channel. I don't know if there's any legitimacy to this or not, but we are keeping an eye on GME. And here's the trend line that we're kind of looking for it. So if the NQ kind of gives up the ghost, then we can look for some of these positions to also follow it. Carvana is trying to reclaim 24s. It's holding the previous wick top, had the wick low. We did respect this 2350 level, and we got an out at 24. So it's kind of just running. AI, we're probably going to just stay away from AI. Took over $10 a share on AI, and we're happy with it. NVAX, we're looking for 825s to hold. This is kind of the breakout level that we're looking at. And our best print on this, we were hovering over a trim as it was holding 850, but 848, I believe, is our best trim on NVAX. Other than that, FVRR has been running pretty good. We've respected the top end of this channel. I think my best print is a 3036. So we are going to be looking for reloads in off 29 or maybe this trend line. We're just going to let this one breathe. Still early entries. Strength isn't quite there. A nice bull flag continuation. Is this an ascending channel? Do we pull back into like 29s? This is what I'm looking for with that. Intel. Looking at Intel. Gaps up, fills the gap. Are we going to get top end of the channel? DAL. Are we going to get further continuation in the mid 40s? That's what we're looking for. We have 0 trims on the name today. We respected these 40 tops yesterday, and we're just holding. CVNA, we'll go back over to this. So rejecting 24s again. If this pulled back into like the middle of this green move, 2050, the original entry, we'll think about reloading it. But holding a small piece. Ford, we are on the ask for, I don't know why I keep doing that. Ford, we're at 1414, we're on the ask at 1422. We could switch this to a market order, but let's see if we can get these 1422s to print, and we'll go from there. Carvana, this is what we kind of want to see. We kind of want to see this trade down. We're okay holding the small piece. We are okay. NVAX, giving up 825s. This is why you respect the initial move. I'm okay holding this against me right now. A little bit of increased volume. Red engulfing both candles. Is this going to be some sort of downtrend that it makes? Sort of like that. We can go to a 5-minute and see how that looks. Still the middle of the move. So going against us, good thing we have Prince on the name. And I'm not giving up on it yet. If I wanted to, I could maybe try and reload off these tops. You can see these wick tops right here. So maybe like get that last wick top right there. Like at 813 to 810, maybe retest the bodies. So a lot of support for this to fall back into, and we have a nice uptrend as well. A nice ascending channel build. You are back. Nice. How's it going, Kramer? Yeah, I had to come back. I said that if NVAX gives me a breakout, we're gonna keep our eyes on it and do another stream. Carvana, our best print is a 24 flat. We're respecting these lows over here and still holding a piece. So if this pulls back into like this flat top break, this is where I'd be looking to reload, and I'd go to an hour chart for that. So let's just clear the chart. You can see my hour chart meeting in around that 2250. The flat top's a little bit higher. I'd say the daily chart, the middle of the green move, meeting in at like a 1950. You know, middle of the green move is at 2050. That's the original entry. So that's what we're looking at. GME, yeah, just I'm going to be a little patient with this one. It's strong. It looks good. But the reason why is just looking at the NQ. The NQ's kind of giving up this trend line. It's a very vertical looking trend line. And we know that this 702 is meeting up right around this area. Has not been able to set a close through it. So let's see which way this NQ wants to go, and then we'll think about other trades. If the NQ puts a nice red candle and shows me that it's going to trigger some stops maybe underneath of this wick right here, then I'm going to expect take some profits on some positions, and you know, I'm doing good holding GME to 30. If GME moves to 30, I'm really going to regret not buying it right here. But let's look at that 30 level. Does it need to pull back in? Maybe try to get down to this gap? It's possible. I want to say that's possible. You have some resistance that it's wicked into, those tops, and you could even just wick that last top right there. So 27.75 to 28.75, definitely something that it could reject. And then the body of this candle is 31. And this 31 kind of meets in over at this low and this little shelf right there. Also, you could mark these lows right there, so that adds into this sort of window. How does it act inside of here? In the middle ground, I want to get it closer to this end, which if you date back to these wicks over here, do we have to retest these areas? Maybe. Just maybe. AMC, I seen AMC had a break over 5. It's still holding 5. Getting close to that positive break, nice volume increase, breaking through a channel. I'm just not giving up the fact that, you know, it's still possibly meeting in at a downtrend. Is this going to be some sort of uptrend build? And this gap, I'm not counting that gap out. As long as it's trading in this descending channel, I want it to hold, and maybe I can trade it over here. That's insinuating October. It could trade sideways till October, so I just want to be careful. Over trading, we got Carvana that's still trying to hold this level, and NVAX is trying to put a wick in, but you can see the NVAX getting this fresh positive break on a daily. We're just looking for it to hold this flat top. If it can, we think we can hold this into the close, and you can see this kind of playing out. If it comes back into like this trend line over like 3 candles from now, it might just need to stair step down. So we have our outs up to, we can go over those outs. So let's see what our outs were for the NVAX. Let's just search NVAX and see what we got. So we had a 838 fill. We had another 838 fill trying to get 840s. We had an 829, an 813, an 808, an 805, a couple 803s, an 801, and some reloads on the name. Yeah, we have quite a bit of transactions on NVAX today, and we are happy with the trade, and I don't think it's going to be able to go red on us, so we are good with that. We were watching AI. Let's cancel out of this. Carvana giving up more of the ghost. This is what we were looking for. Finally, just some exhaustive moves down. Let's see it kind of sell off, and I would imagine the NQ rejecting that 702. So let's go over to the daily. And there's multiple ways that you can probably adjust this. There's that wick top. We can go off of this. And you can see there's a lot of different ways you can adjust this 702, but early rejection to that 702, which meets over at this resistance as well. So it is worth noting that you're putting a wick into that 702, and we're now breaking this early vertical uptrend that is coiled through. And that doesn't mean that it can't, just trade sideways a little bit and then break it. Maybe this uptrend has a little bit of leeway like that, and we're still on the uptrend. So if this NQ wants to break out, your NQ is going to tell you the decision. If you see red engulfing down to here, it could be early signs of a curl, a frowny face, a topping pattern, or if you get a green engulfing through, my next area is where I'm looking at up here. So if we get what we could see, you could see another 2% run possibly. But looking back at the daily, I'm not counting it out until I see it with more information. So you can see the coil pattern, you can see the early red. Is it giving up this sort of trend line right there? Maybe, just maybe. So just pump the brakes just a little bit. GME kind of giving up that same sort of level. But we're expecting this nice green move. If we go to an hour candle, you can see the 3-hour candles. This is what I was talking about earlier, where now I have 3 candles, nice increased volume, 24 minutes left on this candle, decreasing volume. Does this need to pull back into 26.25? Maybe, just maybe. So longs, just because there's some profit taking going on right now, doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It's about seeing and understanding the bigger picture to me. I want to have as much conviction. Where can I get back into Carvana? Okay, so I don't want to say, but if you are looking for a continuation move today, this is just strictly talking today. The price you actually want to see hold is this previous high. That previous high right there, and we're wicking into it right now. Does this give you a red engulfing to the downside? Maybe. Is the move over today? It's tough to say. But very good move on the day already from, here's the lows on the day. 10% is the move over? It's tough to say. You are putting these wicks into these previous lows. So the way I would go about a new position is I want to buy it closer to support, where I'd say this flat top is a lot better of support. I want to buy it as close down to here as I can over here. But my scenario is different. Keep that in mind. My scenario is different. We had longs, our initial long from a 2050, and we had 3 reloads inside of this wick right here. It doesn't always work out that way, but a short-term out could also be this sort of trend line, where does this trend line hold? Is there support at the trend line? Do we need to go to a higher time frame where you can see the selling pressure? Maybe we need to pull into like a 23 flat top of this wick. It's really all tough to say. It's very tough to say. This is why, to me, I don't want to overtrade. I want to get the entries, trim the levels, and hold a piece for the dream. we go back to AI. I was kind of kicking myself for selling out of the entire position on AI. It gave me the gap fill over here at 44s. That's what we were calling out when we took the trade. But this could even go higher. It could go even higher. So having the entry down here and selling up here, yes, that's a very good positive. But me, I'm telling myself, where could I have been better? Where could I have maybe reloaded some shares? Like right here, this is the early move of the day. You gap up, fills the gap, and it holds this level, kind of like Carvana did. And boom, I could have easily had reloads at 37, and we'd still probably be sitting in AI from 37s. And that's averaging up from 32 half, whatever it was that we had. And Carvana kind of giving up the ghost. So this is kind of what I was a little worried about. Now it's giving up. It's showing you early signs where here you hold over top of this high. I'm just going to mark these highs. You see how we hold. Here's another high. You see how we get over top of it, hold. Here's another high. We get over top of it. We don't even really test that area. Well, now we get over top of this high. Now we're not holding this high. So that is something to kind of consider. And then we look over at the NQ and we're kind of early signs. We know this 702 is somewhere right around here. And we are not breaking through it. It's the first signs where, okay, we have higher highs all the way through. Does this price hold, or do we get movement to the downside and see some curl to the downside? So it's going to be tough to tell, of course. Would I like to sit here and say this is probably not the high? This is probably not the high for this move. You look at the NQ. Now that I have my commodity set perfectly, this was the positive break we were taking back in January. When does the strength go negative? If you're just holding for positive strength, right here, just almost, and we're still moving higher, if you're just holding this base off of strength, there's no reason to hold it. This is what I mean by get the entry, trim the levels, reload. Where are some potential reloads? Look at this neckline break. Boom, you could have triggered in and just held for the strength. If it goes negative, okay, here's your original entry. If it gets underneath your original entry, you're gone. We never get underneath that entry. We're still holding. We're still holding from this initial positive break, up 28% on an index. On an index, keep that in mind. So holding strength, is this going to be the top? You know, we did fill this gap. We do have a 702 right here. This is a catalyst for the bears? Yes. Yes, it very well could be. There's your 702. Let's put a line on it. It very well could be. Maybe it trades down and we actually just have a trend line hold. We could trade down, you know, 2-3% on the NASDAQ, hold, and then see further movement through that level. You never know. So this is kind of just some of the stuff that I want to point out on the channel is in the short term, it's all a big voting machine. Do more people want to buy than sell? So looking back at the NQ, this trend line, is it early? Oh, we're actually putting more of a red engulfing candle through. More of a red engulfing candle through this trend line. So this is kind of what I was worried about. Boom, does the NQ kind of take out some of your positions? Carvana, same look. We go back over the GME, same look. We go back over to what's another name? AI. AI has been strong, same look. But AI is a little bit different. It still has this previous high. So really AI, if you wanted to freaking get dicey, now have your risk, have your reward set out, because obviously this name has run quite a bit from its lows. Just from these 37 lows, we're up 14% on the day still. Does this hold these previous tops right here? But one thing you're going to have to worry about is you have a early descending channel look. Is it going to give you that break higher? Do we catch a bid and we reject these previous lows? So here's those previous lows. If it catches a bid, it still has to fight through that. So if you're looking for a scalp, you could try it right here, and you could trim. Your first out would be the wick low, this wick low right there. So that's 50 cents in the money if it works for you. Your second out is even a little bit higher. But are we going to be able to hold these lows right here? I'm not sure where VWAP would be at. But one thing that you should know is the NQ is giving up the ghost. Does AI follow the trend? And so that's why I don't want to overtrade. We've respected all the levels. Our best print on Carvana is a 24. If this pulls back into like 22 halves, that's reloading $1.50 in the money. NVAX is still holding the level, still holding the descending channel. We're trying to hold this for a bigger move. The bigger picture can always be found on the daily. We're getting a fresh positive break. If this wants to hold positive for a long time, who knows? Maybe this builds a U shape, and we're looking at it as some sort of channel like that, where I'm talking about early entries on a fresh positive break. You know, a potential move for this name could be top end of the channel, 40%. Whereas you look at Carvana, this is why I always want to understand where the longs got in, and I take that positive break. It's the earnings date. So you already have to anticipate that the longs are in. You know, we'll go in the middle of this green candle. The longs are already in 131%. So getting back into a name, it's tough to say. Uh, Kramer, you need to go. Understandable. I appreciate you tuning in, and we will hopefully see you back here on the channel. I'm sure. I wonder if Drift is here or not. Drift, are you out there? I mean, we're preaching some gold here. Looking at the NQ giving up that trend line right at that 702. And Ford, now that the NQ's kind of done that, we're just going to go over to that order on Ford, and we're just going to mark it out. We're not going to be a stickler for Ford. We're going to replace this order. We're going to mark it out. And that should give us a 415 print right there. Maybe it gave us 16s. But we got our trim on Ford, and we can ring the register on that name. That is what we're talking about. This is what we're doing. Nothing but beast trades. Nothing but banger trades all day. Addressing swings. Addressing levels. How about that? What's our best trim on FVRR? We can go over both trims. I think we have 3 trims on the name. FVRR, we have a 2936 fill, we have a 3002 fill, and we have a 3027 fill. So that is what we want to see. Intel, let's go take a glance over at Intel. Intel, we have no prints over 33 half, but we like the way that the chart looks. Allison printed a new all-time high today. We took a piece off of Allison somewhere in the middle of this candle. Somewhere in the middle of this candle right there. It just looked like it could start curling. And NQ still kind of giving up the ghost right there. So NVAX trying to hold. And Ford gave up those 15s right after that order. That order actually might have came in 1416 print. We have a day high print. 1417 was day high. 1 penny off. We are okay with that. GSIT, we should probably take a look at that. Still holding the uptrend. That is unbelievable hold of the uptrend, if you ask me. PayPal, potential channel holding. I'm gonna be right back though. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and we'll be back to go over any further trades. And we are back. The NQ still holding strength. If looking at it from the daily, gaps up, fills the gap. Still holding pretty strong. Just because it breaks this doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And you can see it's wicking into this support level. Can it hold and break it at a later date? Maybe. Maybe. It might be able to. So tough to say. Looking at Carvana, you know, this 23.15 meeting in at the top of this green candle, maybe something there. Uh, it's tough to say. Let's look at the 5-minute with that. I mean, a little bit of a shelf. I just think 22.84 looks a lot better with the trend line. Is this what we're going to be getting? Maybe. Looking back to the NQ, yeah, it's just, man, that was a pretty solid holding uptrend right there. That just double topped, broke down a little bit. NVAX, wicking into the level. Man, we'd like to just hold a piece of this. We got the entry, we've trimmed some levels. This is kind of the support level we want to see hold. Doesn't need to pull back in before it makes a move though. Getting the positive break, we're closing above some levels. C3 AI still doing what it needs to do. GME trying to hold 27s. Now we can see the descending channel kind of playing out. Tight descending channel. Rocket Labs, believe it or not, we had the golden of all goldenness entries off the gap up at 4. You do not want to know where I got stopped out of this trade. We bought the gap, it popped, we get stopped out 390. Literally the low before the move. Unreal miss opportunity. That goes to show that, it's an example, I shouldn't say it as blunt, that no matter how much you know, you're still going to make mistakes. You are still going to make mistakes. We do think this 810 can hold pretty good. Nice middle of the green move. 6 minutes and 30 seconds left on this 30-minute candle. Can this build a U shape from here to wicking into that level? We like the way that looks. And there's 818. So volume turning green. 6 minutes, 30 seconds left on this candle. Looking at Carvana, that 30, that 23. Nikola, what a move that had. Mullen, when does the bloodiness end? When does the blood show end? Oh my. Look at that channel on the commodity. Look at the strength saving you. There's your negative break. Boom. $96. Could be something there. That reminds me, I gotta check my fantasy roster for the day. I'm sure you guys are probably wondering Carvana. I mean, there's no need to do anything. We got 24 prints. We got prints all the ways up through this. Could we think about reloading? We could. Could. It would make for more entertainment. I wish I had more entertainment for you guys. NVAX still just kind of holding some of these levels. So I mean, what more can I do? I can paper hand. I paper handed many very, very good physicians. About that. Yeah, right. Oh, brother. 540. The only problem with this is it some sort of descending channel? Does it have enough? Does it have any juice? Yeah, not really as much excitement as when we were sitting here midday, right when we ended the stream. There was an awful lot of excitement. There was a ton of excitement. But everything looks like that. This is exactly what I was talking about with the NQ. Watch your positions, make sure you nurse them. Breaks the trend line, watch out for red engulfing through the levels. Man, that is just a beautiful, beautiful read. Now my sell at 42.62, not looking half bad now, does it? Breaking down some levels. Carvana holding up a little bit better. Everything is tanking. Alright guys, well I don't really think there's gonna be much else. I mean, if the NQ looks like this, how can you justify taking a trade on anything? I just don't see it right now. How can I go pull the trigger on anything with the NQ looking like this? Does this need to retest the flat top? Maybe. Does the uptrend hold? Maybe. I don't know what else I can identify right there. I mean, that was a golden call. Absolutely gorgeous. Could have just went across the whole portfolio and trimmed everything. What's holding up? All right, I guess oil kind of has the same look. Oil just needs more time. But where, gosh, I'm not going to be able to get over this. Where did this happen? Where did it happen is what is most alarming. We break that trend line. The NQ has been as strong as it possibly can. There's the gap fill. I mean, you can't make that much better right there. Go into the 15-minute chart. What are we fighting to get through? And where does this first break of weakness, where there's been no weakness anywhere over the whole week? It's been nice bullish move. And it's just something feels a little off. Not financial advice. You guys know I'm out here just sharing my opinion. Just sharing my opinion, guys. But very interesting level to build a flat top. Looks very bullish. And it fails. It fails. That's what we're talking about. Carvana is holding pretty good. Let's go take a look at NVAX. Take a look at GSIT. GSIT actually still holding off very well. Not much volume's come into it. There's on this current candle, one share has been traded. One solo share has been traded. Google. DAL, we can go take a piece off of both of these positions. Let's take a couple trims off. Let's respect the look. Nothing really else to do. Trying to hold. I think this looks, what I'm in looks not half bad. AI, same kind of look. Yeah, everything's giving up the ghost. Everything's giving up the ghost. Carvana still holding the level fairly. NVAX. CVNA retesting the area. Is this going to be able to curl? I don't know. It's tough to say. NVAX still trying to hold the level. We think the 30-minute tells the story. Give up with the trend line temporarily. Carvana, I'd say Carvana probably has the best look. It did give up. Oh, here it's actually going to try and go right now. That was the third candle of this kind of bull flag, if you call it that. And catching a little bit of a bid. Does this need to be a descending channel? Is there something like that? It's the only thing that's really catching strength. AI definitely didn't. Carvana. CVNA trying. Yeah, other than that, we're gonna keep an eye on the NVAX. If there's anything anybody wants me to look at, feel free. I don't know if Kramer's there. I don't know if yeah, NVAX holding this uptrend and maybe Carvana is gonna try and go right here. I know it's a mess, but this is the only thing that's really holding any strength. Carvana. AI or two big movers. This one just looks done. I think the uptrend and the 30-minute on NVAX give just a little bit better of a look, where it's holding these highs, sort of a flat top, break it, hold. That is what we're looking at there. CVNA going to try. A lot of green volume in this initial move up. There's your 702. Disney's trying to build this flat top. Gaps up, doesn't have the weakness to go down there. Yeah, other than that, that's all we got. Carvana, is it going to give the breakout? Sure, that's a mess. Let's just clear it. You can see the bull flag pattern has a nice strong uptrend. Ascending channel. Does it give a test up to like 24 halves? Are there going to be buyers that come in for this trend line? A little bit of buying pressure. DAL kind of giving up the ghost a little bit. Intel trying to hold. And at the NQ, it just, I don't know. Well, it doesn't look like there's any questions in the chat. It does look like we have one person watching. I'm going to call it for a stream. I would say with the NQ like this, I don't see me trying to guess which way this is going to go because I think probably down. But obviously, I'm just one person. I only have one vote. Could there be some sort of uptrend like that where we end up taking out the highs? Maybe. It does have a flat top build. If it catches a bid, maybe there's a catalyst for it. Carvana, 2380s. If we get up to like 2450s, we're going to take another piece off. We're just going to keep nursing it if it wants to keep going. It's the last one that we're in, that and NVAX, which holding an uptrend. Uh, Looking for 8 to hold. 8 holds, we're holding it into the close. GME, kind of the same story. 3 pullback candles. Looks pretty good. I think the hour chart also looks like a bull flag. Does it need the pullback to 26, 25, 2650 first? Maybe. Tough to say. I think I'm just going to stick with Carvana, which is actually breaking through 24 again. And we're going to be looking for 2450s is where our next out is going to be. That's what we're looking for. That and NVAX. NVAX still holding the uptrend. We got the breakout, early entry before the breakout. Nice flat top break. Now can it hold? So that's what we're looking for there. Everything kind of giving that same look. Looking back at the NQ, kind of holding that uptrend. Does it have to fight through these previous lows right here? Is this a bear flag sort of look? If we go look at the TQ, you can see that same type of look. Increasing red volume passes the rules of a bear flag. Where was this some sort of trend line like this? Does this pull further over here? I don't know. But you do have 3 increasing red candles, 3 increasing red volume, and you have some levels to try and build in at if you were looking to short the NASDAQ. So if we go take a look at the SQ, same look, increasing green volume, indecision candle, you have these previous highs, the wicks meet up, and you have the neckline. So a couple different ways of looking at it. Carvana leaving potentially a double top if this is the level. AI trying to hold. NVAX, maybe. But that is going to call it for the live stream. I appreciate anybody who tuned in, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.